Welcome to episode 10 of Herfinance Talk. My name is Sue Diamond and I'm your host. And our goal here is to help women create a better relationship with their money so you can live your best life. So thanks for joining us today and investing in your financial well-being. Herfinance Talk is brought to you by the Herfinance Club. And our mission is to socialize the idea that it's okay for women to talk about money because knowledge is power. And when that knowledge helps you become more independent, it translates to empowerment. Women empowering women is a mantra we love to live by and one that has helped to inspire women for decades. So where would we be without each other? So today's topic centers around September. I'm sure you're thinking, September? Why September? Well, September because it is Self-Improvement Month. And this is a time to make yourself better at anything that you please. So there's many avenues for self-improvement, including, emotional, spiritual, and physical well-being. But of course, we are the Herfinance Talk Show, so our focus is your financial wellness. So I want to start by introducing and welcoming our guest today, Rebecca Simon. Hi, Rebecca. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So Rebecca is the founder of the Lifestyle Company, and she's the wearer of many other hats in terms of businesses and accolades, way too many for me to list right here. But we'll have Rebecca share where you can find her at the end of the podcast. So I met Rebecca through our Her Finance private Facebook group, and I was in awe of your journey that led you and your family on a move from Australia to Fiji, and your focus on education and the personal development to help you create a life of balance and abundance. So after hearing Rebecca's story, after we had chatted and learning about some of the fears and the emotional roller coaster ride that she went through, I knew she would be a great guest for our show and serve as an inspiration for those of us who are stopping ourselves from moving forward. So I'm going to just transition over to you, Rebecca, and let you expand on this truly inspiring story. And please share with our listeners as well, how your abundance mindset has also led to a life of balance as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sue, for having me on. And I'm very excited to share a little bit about my journey, and hopefully I can give you some golden nuggets that can really sort of alter that journey that you're on, because slight shifts can really have a major impact down the track. So I have always been I wouldn't say obsessed, I'd say intrigued by those who appeared to live the lucky life. I'd walk down the street of the beach and I'd be walking down the Esplanade and I'd see these beautiful big mansions and I'd be like, wow, what do they do for a living? How did they get that? Or you'd be at the traffic lights and a beautiful car would come alongside of me and I was in my little tinny car and I'd be looking over just going, wow. I'd be in awe of it. I never was like the one to go, oh, look at them, blah, 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 blah. It was more of a in awe. And, I used to think it was just for those who were lucky. And then I soon learned very fast when I started my personal development journey that you create your own luck. And so 17 years ago, my husband and I went on our very first personal development journey. We owned 3 very large companies in Australia in the building industry. So that's where we started. So we built those up with life coaches, business coaches. I always have believed from a very, very young age that if I saw somebody that had what I wanted or was where I wanted, no matter if it was their health, their relationship, their finances, their fitness, I would always pick their brain. And so that's why we got coaches in, somewhere where we could pick their brain and lift the lid on our thinking and push through and get to where we wanted to be. So we started our personal development journey 17 years ago. My husband dragged me along, literally dragged me along to our Tony Robbins conference. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called Unleash the Power Within. Very common, very, like, a lot of people have been on his. But that, I remember the first day I thought, oh my God, is this like a cult or something? This is crazy. All these people jumping around and going crazy. And then by the second day, I was just so intrigued and just glued to this man and just in awe of everything he said. And everything resonated with me. And it was simple stuff, but it was just stuff we needed to hear. And that really got me started on this huge journey. So I signed up to his whole university mastery, and I just picked people's brains along the way, went to every seminar, webinar, podcast, you name it. I was just listening and learning. So we ended up growing three very successful businesses in Australia, but we found that we were very time poor. Our lifestyle didn't really reflect what we wanted or what we didn't want to do till we were in our 70s. And then so we thought, okay, we need to think differently. We need to think smarter here, not harder. So we decided to have a little dabble into the online place. And so we joined a health and wellness company that just seemed to be different to anything else that was out there, that was launching globally. And we did our due diligence and our research, and we just were like, wow, this is, like, a little bit skeptical, but it just seemed really, really good. So we joined, and we worked really hard and in our first year, and were able to completely retire ourselves in that year. And so I guess Mike and I have been on a journey since then. We've done 17 years of personal development. We've spent over $300,000 probably on personal development. We've grown five very successful businesses in not only the building industry, the online health and wellness industry. And then just recently, as you mentioned, we started the Lifestyler Company. And that was really about a passion project for us. It was about how can we help others with all of these learnings that we have done, that emotional roller coaster ride of business, or just even if it's not business, just getting ahead in life, and so that every year isn't a photocopy of the year before, that you've made some improvement. So we put our success formula that we've used, and it just seems to work over and over again into the Lifestyler Planner. So we came up with this amazing planner, which is basically like a diary with a built-in goal setting, personal development, and task management system. Because I truly believe that if you do something and create consistency in your life with something, that consistency turns into habits, good habits, and then those habits is what gives you success. And so we just simplified it and put it into the planner, and which has been like amazing. It's just been helping so many people around the world get some clarity, some vision. Just like, I really find that confused people do nothing, and so that's what we loved about this planner. So long story short, we decided 3.5 years ago we were running an online business. We were working in the cracks of our schedule to do this. And we sold those 3 companies that we owned back in Australia, and decided that we were sick to death of living life by what society tells us we have to do. Go get that mortgage, get that white picket fence, put the kids and the dogs inside, and then be in debt for the rest of your life. And so we thought, we don't want to be doing this. This is like, we're like robots in this world. And we just felt like we were like one of those rats running on one of those wheels. So we decided, okay, let's do something crazy. And, what have we got to lose? And, that fear kicked in when we decided to move to Fiji. All those things come to your mind, people telling you, why you shouldn't do something. And then I soon realized very quickly that, with all the naysayers out there that you're going to come across when you want to get ahead in life, there's so many people that are going to give you your opinions or make you feel bad or put you down. And, we just had to focus on staying in our lane. And so what we did was, we turned fear into fun, and we just went out there and just did it. Because what have we got to lose? We're born and we're going to die. We know that's a given. And so like we can control what happens in between. So we decided to move to Fiji. We sold up everything, moved over here with our kids, yeah, it was scary, moving away from good healthcare, moving away from, good schools. But what we found is our kids actually have blossomed, even like they've got the no pressures of the bullying and everything that goes on. So we've created an amazing life here where we run an online business from a beautiful island. And yeah, it's just been amazing. And who am I? I always look in the mirror and go, who have I become? How did I do this? But there's so many. There's that success formula that I've just used and stuck to, because in growing yourself and not being afraid.
Yeah. I think mindset is so powerful. And I see this with a lot of women that I work with in terms of finances, and that fear that inner critic, or if we want to call it self-imposter syndrome, creeping in and kind of telling us, oh, you know what? No, I don't think you can do this, or, you're not knowledgeable enough to do this, or what if? So I think in those situations, I think it's wonderful that you've been able to overcome that. And I think as we talk more, we can share with our listeners that there are some key factors that really, we're all in a position to be able to do this. But I do know when we were having our discussion, so we were talking about, money, and, that money is energy, and it's nothing more and it's nothing less. And
absolutely
how our story about money actually becomes our personal reality. And I know what I see in many instances with women is that there are like those two main types of stories that come in to that self-talk, and they either reinforce a scarcity view or they reinforce an abundance one. So what I always like to share, and I want to share this with our listeners, it's really important that every time you say something about money, no matter how small it might be, you need to take notice of that, because it's definitely your self-talk. So paying attention to that is kind of key in terms of heightening your awareness to your mindset. And one of the things that I would love for you to share, Rebecca, is you had mentioned to me about an activity that you've done with people around the world in terms of a money exercise that's really powerful. So I'd love for you to share that with our listeners.
Sure. It's so simple, but yet it's so powerful. And just going back to what I was saying before, something really, I'm an affirmation person. Affirmations are really, they trigger off the law of attraction. And so watching your language, watching just everything that you do is what you're going to attract more of. And so I have a saying that I never take advice off someone who's not where I want to be. So when you're getting all the voices that are coming around you in life, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, then you've got to learn to turn those voices off, and always say, would I take advice off that person? And that's why I like picking people's brain. But moving on to this money exercise, it is so simple. And there's two things I'll share with you. But the first one is this one, and it's how we treat money. So most people have a relationship with money, and like you said, it tends to be one of scarcity, one of what's the word I'm looking for? Lack of. Like we have the lack of. You always want more, as you see money as the root of evil. And so the first thing when I ask you to think about when you think about money is, what is your relationship money? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of money? Now, is it lack of, or is it I'm so happy and grateful that money comes to me in increasing quantities on a continual basis through multiple sources, and I'm so blessed? Like, what is it that you're saying? So I got introduced to this exercise years ago, and it literally changed my life. And so he said, if you look at money, okay, so right now I've got a $50 note in my hand. Sorry, I'll show you this side. Now, on this $50 note, you can see that there's people on here. Most money in most countries, some of them have people on those notes, or even on your coins. There's always people on there. It could be the Queen, it could be the, you know, your Prime Minister, whoever it might be. In this regard, there's a lot of kids on the Fijian $50 note. So what I noticed was, he said, well, how do you treat your friends? There's people on these notes, you know. There's actually people on here. How are you treating them? Look at what you're doing. I want you to all go into your handbags now. I want you to all open up your purses. I want you to all go into your car, into the console or on the floor. Look around your house. I want you to see how you treat your friends. And so I looked in my bag, and my money was all scrunched up. There was all coins in the bottom of my bag. There was all loose change in the car. And so then from then on, we had to do this exercise where we had to start treating these people like we love them. They're our friends. They're our, you know, they mean so much to us. So then when I used to get change from somebody at the, you know, the register, I used to sit there, quickly scrunch up my money, chuck it in my bag, and just zip it up. Probably money is kind of half hanging out, and I'm, you know, nearly getting it caught in the zip. And then so now I grab the money and I slot it in really nicely, and I look at it, and I'm so grateful when I look at that money. I don't chuck money down to the bottom of my bag anymore, okay? Because, hey, I don't do that to my friends. I don't throw them down to the bottom of my handbag. I don't just throw them in the car. And if I see 5 cents, something as small as 5 little cents, if I walk past 5 cents in the street and that is on the floor, I don't go, I'm not going to bother to pick that up. It's not like it's $100 or anything. It's only 5 cents. No, that is somebody on the floor. That is somebody left behind. And, you know, money is energy. And so I pick that 5 cents up and I look at it and I say, you know what, I'm so grateful for that. And so what I do is I put that 5 cents into a jar, and that jar collects of all the money I come across and I find of my loose change. And that is my charity jar. That is at the end of the year, I'm going to, you know, do something nice with that. And the law of attraction, karma, everything comes into play. So that's how a little exercise you can do just on how you treat your money. The other thing that I tend to do a lot of is the living above the line and below the line. And so imagine that there's this line in your life, and everything you think, you feel, and you say, ask yourself, is it above the line or is it below the line? Below the line is going to give you life below the line. Above, anything you say above the line, think and feel, is going to give you more of that in your life. So lack of, I can't afford that right now. You know, we don't have enough money, kids. Sorry, we can't get an ice cream. We don't have enough money. I'm broke this week. You know, money doesn't grow on trees. Or
right.
And when you think of when you think of money, it's like that sickening, wrenching feeling in your stomach. And so I tend to, even if money is tight and you are in that position, you know, and during these hard times, I know a lot of people have been thrown into that position. So still thinking above the line, you know what? I'm grateful for the food that's in my cupboard. I'm grateful that we could still afford to feed our family tonight, no matter what circumstances are. I'm so grateful that, you know, money is going to come to us, or I'm so grateful. I'm looking forward to getting back on my feet again, or I'm looking, you know, and just, you know, we can't. So if I'm at the shop and the kids ask me something, it's not a priority right now, kids. If I couldn't afford it at the time, I'd say it's not a priority right now. So,
right.
And so it's not, I'm saying no and I can't afford it. I'm just saying it's not a priority right now. So you're just changing your language, changing how you feel. Like when I look at my money, even if there's not enough of it coming in, I still looked at it and I still was proud of it and happy for it, because, you know, there's always people out there worse than us. So yeah, it's just one of those things that if you can really shift your mindset, and I think having that little exercise of how we treat your money is one of the first things, because it's easy to do, and it's something that you now when you do it next, it's what I've just said is going to trigger something in your brain, which is then going to trigger using different language. And you watch what happens when you have a different relationship with money. You are going to be blown away at what comes to you and the opportunities that come to you. Or you know, when you start to learn affirmations and manifestation as well, which is something I do in my planner, I remember my husband couldn't afford my engagement ring many years ago. I think like 18, 19 years ago now. And, he didn't have that mindset if he couldn't afford it. He said, how am I going to get this money? And I know, and so he just manifested. He just kept visualizing, I want this, and he put his figure on it in his mind. He said, it'll come to me. That's what I want to do. And it was so funny because at the time we owned he did all this visualization of just this money coming to him. It'll happen. Don't worry. Let it go. It'll come to him somehow. And then all of a sudden, a guy we did a cash job for in our kitchen company, we thought we'd lost that money. We'd go to his house, we'd knock on his door. He just would not answer the door. 2 years later, we thought, oh, well, we've lost that money. You're not going to take him to court for the little money that he owes us. It was like $2,000 or $3,000. And next minute, when Michael started doing all this manifestation and had a different thing and just knew that will come to him and everything's going to be okay. And it's that man rang him and said, hey, mate, I think I owe you like $2,000 or $3,000 from like years ago. And Mike's like, no way. Like, we thought we'd lost that money. And so it's crazy how it will come, but it will come.
Yeah. And I think, as you say, it's really about, so we do the manifestation, but it's also about thinking in terms of the gratitude side, right? So being grateful. So it's really turning it from a negative focus into a positive focus. Okay, I can't afford that right now, but look what I do have and what can I be grateful for. So I think when we talk about, especially from my perspective, talking about, we all have the ability to create any belief we want. And as a result, we can change our life in profound ways. But it's about that positive mindset, regardless of where you are on, the wealth ladder, so to speak. So I truly believe, we all have the power to take over, our money and our finance life, no matter what situation we're in. And I often say, we're not a victim of circumstance, rather we are a powerful creator in training, so to speak.
Absolutely.
And that kind of ties into one of the recent posts that I saw of yours. And it was, don't let your fear of what could happen make nothing happen. And you were tying that to a relationship with goal setting. So I think, again, so our listeners understand, as we talk about manifestations, it's not just the manifestation, it's also the positive mindset. And then thinking about, how can you move forward in terms of manifesting. So I loved the steps that you prescribed that were applied to the goal setting. And I'd love for you to share a little more on that with our listeners, because you had talked about focusing on the process and not necessarily the outcome.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you can manifest and you can have the great, but there's no point manifesting if that language and those feelings inside don't align. They have to align.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we've still got to take action, right? It still requires some level of action. So obviously Mike and I, as you know, from our planner, we're obviously goal setters. Okay. And so the one thing that, that I guess our brains can do is they can tell us, they can literally, our subconscious can kick in from past experiences, failures, issues that have happened, things that have been taught to us through our parents, and they can kick in and really, I guess, we can look at that goal, and that goal can feel so far away, okay, that it seems unattainable, or how do I get there? And so one thing that I guess I've been really working on a lot of and learning about the brain and how it all functions, and learning what it takes for the average person to go from A to Z. Okay, so if you're at A and you want to get to Z, you can be at A and go, wow, Z just seems so far out of reach. How do I do it? So that's why Mike and I, we set goals. We set the vision, like we set our 5-year goals and our 12-month goals in the 6 areas of life in our planner. Okay, that way we're pushing every single little thing forward. So we're not just completely focused in one area. But then that needs to be broken down into smaller chunks. So we have monthly goals breakdown. Now, what I try and tell people to do is, you know, going from A to Z can bring in a lot of fear, a lot of what if I can't. So we need to switch that language around to what if I fly? What if this works? So turn fear into fun for starters. Okay, like look at it as, look at it as an obstacle to learn and grow from and exciting. So, but one of the things I said in that post was, don't focus on the outcome, which it's great to still have your outcomes, still know your goals, still know where you want to go, but don't focus on that, because most people are standing at A, they're looking at Z, and then if it feels like it's too hard or they feel confused, or then they will stop. Okay. So what you need to do is focus on the process. Okay. So that is, and even if for the month of September, I popped $100 off into a little kitty that I never normally would have before. And that's going to go towards something, or that's going to be towards Christmas Day, or that's going to be towards a family holiday, or that's going to be putting it on the credit card rather than a night on the takeaway food. And no, I'm going to put that into a little kitty, and then at the end of September, when you put that money on that credit card, or you do something with that, then you'll go to because you're focusing on that, you're taking little chunks at a time and you're focusing on the process, you're actually going to go, oh my God, wow, I did something, I did a little step, and hey, and then you can reward yourself, give yourself a pat on the back and say, hey, it's actually, and then the next month you're going to do something, then the next month, and what you don't realize is in 12 months time from now, it's not going to be a photocopy of the year before. You're going to have made some improvement. So it's just about focusing, because if fear brings procrastination in, we tend to procrastinate so much, and we sit there worrying of how this is all going to happen. And then if it's all too hard, we don't. But so just go back and go from A and step to B and step to C and then step to D, and then you'll get there. So and that's what, we've always done that. We're a very big goal setters, but we're also, it's the process to get there, and just knowing that it is a process and making small steps. They don't have to be huge, lofty goals to start with. They can just be really small ones, achieve them, have that feeling of achievement, and then go, okay, what's the next one?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I see that all the time when people are looking at financial planning and they're looking at the big picture. Oh my God, how much money do I need for retirement? I need so many $1 million. And it's like, you know what? That's the vision. That's the end goal. But in order to achieve it, we have to take small steps. And I think, as you'd said, when you take the small step and you achieve that, then you can reward yourself. You feel good. It builds your confidence, and you can move forward on that. It's like anything. It's like, somebody says, I want to learn to ride a Harley Davidson. Well, you're not going to just jump on the bike and take off. You're probably going to
get your license. You're going to, get your old plates, your P plates.
Right. So it's like everything else. It's a process. But what I would love for you to maybe share, because I know we're getting close to the end here, is that just tell our listeners a little more about the planner and the details, because I know that, this is something that can really help people in terms of whether they're an entrepreneur or a business person or a professional, and just having everything in one place. So I think you definitely need to tell them about this treasure.
Sure. It's, I know Mike and I find that confused people do nothing. And, and we were the same. Mike and I are very strong in the mind, where we can have like our goals on the fridge. We can have an affirmation on our bathroom mirror. We can have a vision board on our desk. We can, sit down on a Sunday and we can plan the week ahead so that we're working as a team. Like, we can do that because it's something that we've done for 17 years. But when we've started, with growing a big business around the world and helping so many people achieve their dreams, we found that a lot of people become really confused when it comes to goal setting and when it comes to planning, when it comes to task management, so that they're running the day, not the day running them, and, improving every year. So we decided, let's put what we actually do into one place. Let's develop it. Why not? And so we just sat down and we just designed this planner, and we thought, okay, we'll go get it printed, and we only got a really small print run, really for ourselves and for a few people on our team that we just wanted to try it out with. And we noticed they were having huge success and they were just loving it. And even their wives and husbands were saying, like, this is great. Like, whatever my husband or my wife is doing right now is just huge. So, so anyway, we got another print run, and it's just been growing all around the world. So what it is basically, it's this amazing planner that has it's like a one-stop shop. So it's like $300,000 of our knowledge, what works, what doesn't, in one place. And that makes it so much easier. So, it's got a year to view, it's got your 12-month goals, it's got your 5-year goals, vision and mission. I do everything around the 6 areas of life, because you can be business focused, and then your relationship suffers. You can be business focused, relationship focused, and then you find yourself putting on 20 kilograms because your exercise is gone and been let go, or your health and nutrition. So it's about moving all of the 6 areas of life that I have in here around business, and career, financial assets, your physical health and nutrition, relationship connection, personal growth and skill set, contribution, and spiritual. And spiritual can mean anything. It could just be 5 minutes in nature. It doesn't have to be religion or universal stuff. And then actually in the 2022 planner, there's an addition, there's a wheel of life, a life audit that you can actually take to have a look if your life is like a deflated tire or not. Inside is an internal vision board that you can, so your vision board's with you wherever you go. And then each and every month, I'll just stick to one that's empty. So every month you've got your goals breakdown. So you just set one goal in each of the 6 areas of life. You've got your brain dump section here, and then you've got journaling room at the start of every month. You've got your notes. There's some notes here too, another page of notes. But then you've got your week to view diary with your weekly goals. So based on your monthly goals, you put, okay, so what am I going to do this week? That's going to get me one step closer to those goals. So it's kind of forcing you to think. All right, so that was my goal for the month. Far out, I better start thinking, because it's asking me to think here. Okay, so what am I going to do here? And then it's got a to-do list, which is separate from your goals. And that's what you need to understand. Your to-do list is separate from your goals. So, that's where asking yourself good quality questions every day, like, is what I'm doing right now going to get me closer to where I want to be? No, stop it. Yes, keep doing it. So once I know my weekly goals, I pencil that in. In the cracks of my schedule of the things I have to do around kids and family and work and everything, I schedule that time in. And, if it doesn't happen that week, that's okay. I'll push it to the next week, but at least it's there. And then at the end of every day, we do our daily gratitude, because it sounds stupid and you probably some people just skip that, but honestly, it is the most powerful tool I've ever used. It's changed my entire family's life, in my kids' life. So every night at the dinner table, we go around and we each have to say 3 things we're grateful for. And, sometimes it used to be Barbie dolls, and it used to be like, I'm grateful for, my Barbie camper van. And watching my kids grow and blossom and hearing what we're saying when we're talking about, we're happy, healthy, and alive. We're grateful for a business that allows us to live here in beautiful Fiji. So our kids have been learning over the years. And now when I listen to a 9-year-old say what she's grateful for, it blows me away at the maturity and what they're now thinking. And so I'm really setting them up, to be great, to be amazing and resilient and to be grateful. But yeah, if this planner has been a brilliant, I guess, little passion project for us that has obviously really taken off, which we didn't expect. And that's great, because that's part of my contribution goals, is giving back. And so this planner has been part of that. So if any of your listeners do want to get a copy of that, we can give a discount code. They can put Sue10 in at the checkout, in capitals, Sue10, and they can get 10% off the planner if they'd like. And Yeah, and sharing is caring. So I'd rather see people, getting it out there and using it.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's great because, again, for me, that kind of ties back. There's a couple of different things like the gratitude. Actually, I had my daughter, I think it was Oprah Winfrey, probably 10 or 12 years ago. I can't remember if it was through her book club or something, and talked about a gratitude journal. Yeah. And I remember introducing it to my daughter when she was maybe 12 because, the internet and everything else, the focus on want as opposed to what you need versus what you want. So, but I think also just in terms of goals. So for me, I know personally, money is a tool for us to achieve the end result. So that's that's our goals, what we value, what's important to us. And I think the best way to kind of stay on top of that and have success is through having a visual and writing them down and thinking about that. And that really is key to success. So I hope our listeners go check it out and definitely take advantage of your gracious gift of offering 10% off. So I want to thank you, Rebecca, for sharing your story and your expertise. It's been a pleasure. So where can our listeners find you?
I'm on Facebook, Rebecca Simon. I'm on Instagram. We're under the Simon's Life. The Simon's Life, one word. Share that Instagram with my husband. And we're also on Instagram and Facebook with the Lifestyler Co. So yeah, sure we can put the links down below. Or...
Yes, yeah, I'll definitely make sure they're in the show notes so people can access those. So thank you again, and I just wanted to take time to remind everyone that Her Finance Talk is brought to you by the Her Finance Club, and our goal is to get 1 million women to start the money conversation with spouse, friends, or colleagues, because knowledge is power, and when that knowledge helps you become more independent, it translates to empowerment. So thank you again to our listeners for taking time from your busy schedules to join us, and don't forget to subscribe, and we love hearing from our listeners, so please feel free to share our comments. And our gift to you for Self-Improvement Month, there'll be a link in the show notes to access our financial self-care cheat sheet. So until next time, here's to your financial well-being. Bye.
Bye.